Hey, hope you're well. This is Edward Ambrosi again. I want to talk about in this video how do we find these private security companies in US that are looking to sell and exit the business and how to get them as a broker client essentially. So I'm going to walk you through some of the important things and some of the basic research I've already done. So first of all is we need to address how many companies exist in that market, right? Which is called finding the TAM, finding the total addressable market. And we can do some basic research for ChatGPT. We can do some basic research for different online tools and custom databases that I've done some research and I'm going to show you what's available, right? So if we talk about private security company space, if you do some basic math on what's happening in the United States in terms of businesses versus approximately essentially 11,000 businesses that relate to security services operating in US. Okay, that's based on some of the data in 2023. So that's some of the numbers we know. Now, who do you want to sell your service to? Do you want to sell the service to the smaller companies or the bigger companies to generate more revenue based on whatever you're selling to them? I would highly recommend you to sell to businesses that make more than $1 million revenue. Why? Because they have better systems, more employees in place, and if you're gonna help them, you're gonna just make more money yourself. So it's super important to then filter that data based on the businesses that make more than $1 million. Right? For just asking them a few questions, quickly you could identify that around 10% of them are going to make more than that revenue. It's in between 5 to 10% to be more rough, right? We don't know exactly the numbers, but it's probably going to be in between 500 companies to 1,000 companies, okay, based on ChatGPT research, okay? I've also asked them what is the best way on how we can find their email contacts and some of their contact information, because what we really need is we need the owner's information to be able to contact them to position ourselves to sell a service, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. So first thing that I've done is I went to Apollo to do some basics research. I went to a different website that's essentially a NAICS code website, which is a specific website that gives you a code on all these leads and all this stuff. So I'm going to show you in a second. Now, before we go back to Apollo, we want to find the exact market we want to target. And you find the exact market you want to target also by understanding revenue per employee. If you understand what is the average revenue per employee in a company, you can deduct how much revenue the company is going to make. And some of these different tools that I'm going to show you. So for example, if I know that there's a private security company and the average revenue per employee is 200 grand, that means that if I will search for companies that have more than 5 employees, these companies would tend to have more than $1 million revenue, or kind of in that range. So statistically, I'm already winning against the odds and I'm getting better data. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going back into some of these B2B data tools. I'm going to be trying to pull some of this information. So I'm going to build a custom list of these businesses. That's step number 3. And I'm going to build an infrastructure later to how to reach out to these businesses in an automatic fashion without you spending too much time cold calling people. So I'm going to go back to this tool called Apollo, and I've already done a filter. So you're not wasting time. And again, this might be not the most qualified people because, again, I didn't test this exact market, but playing around with some of the basics, if let's say we have revenue per employee is 200K and we're going to look at 5 to 35 people, $1 million plus revenue, probably up to 7-8 million revenue. We're going to target the CEOs of these companies. We're also going to look at United States, and I've selected security and investigations. Now, there might be an argument that the investigation space particularly is not that interesting for you because you're selling you want to sell to private security service-based companies that set up alarms or set up different things like that. So investigations might not mean that this is a fit. I would still download them. I'd still email these companies. What you would do with this list is you're going to try to get a hold of this list. You're going to try to download this list for yourself to then later email, contact, and get all this information. So you can notice they have emails. You can notice they have mobile information. You can notice they have a LinkedIn profile. You can notice they have a location, and they have particular tags as far as what they do. So video surveillance, security assessment, private investigation. So they have different tags. If you want to get more granular as far as the type of security service you want to get, then you would just go back into some of these filters and you're going to try to identify the tags to be able to find these exact companies. It's probably video surveillance is going to be more relevant to you if you want to target these companies, if you're more specialized into that, right? So you're going hyper-targeted related to this. Now, a different way of doing it is going back to a different website called negs.com. So essentially what negs.com does is it identifies what companies, how many companies exist in a particular market segment. Now, when I've done some of the research, I've immediately identified that there is a NAIC code specifically that's called 561612, which relates to security guards and patrol services, which is not exactly your space, but if you're going to go to the neg.com website, which is above here, and I'm going to paste it in here as well so you can have it on file. But if you go to this exact website and you're going to scroll down to the NAIC codes and you're going to go to this exact code I found, 56, and here, administrative and support and waste services, right? If you're going to go back to this code, 5616, you're going to be able to find that security service. So what that's going to do is you will be able to see filtering mechanisms, and you're going to see that they have investigation, personal background check services, which is not really probably what you want. This is not what you want. This is probably what you want. Security system services, except locksmiths, right? So you'd go into this module. You're going to try to open that module, and you're going to try to contact some of these guys of this website as far as giving you code on all of these businesses that are making more than $1 million revenue up to whatever revenue you want to get. And now you're going to have a very custom list of these owners as well. Probably some of this data is going to be also available in Apollo. You can scrape a lot of this information from Apollo with a different tool called exportapollo.com, I believe. So you're going to try to scrape that information from Apollo with this tool. It's going to be more cost efficient. If you want to do a small test, a very different strategy, but I would also try to understand if it's going to work for you or not is if you already have a company that you're aware of in the security space that exactly represents the type of strategy you want to do or the type of firm that you want to replicate, is you can go into a website called ocean.io. Just type in ocean.io. I'm going to paste this link as well. And essentially what it does, it builds a lookalike private company or a lookalike audience of this company. So let's say that I'm going to type in a private security business there that I know. What ocean.io is going to do is going to try to find all other companies that are similar to this private security business. So if it does surveillance and if it does a particular service related to that, ocean.io is going to try to pull all the companies that match that type of business. If that business, let's say, has in between, it has 7 employees, it's going to try to find companies that are close to 7 employees, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, or 13, and you're going to maybe give them some specific criterias so that they can find lookalikes closer to that type of company. So then you can reach out to them that way. I would test all these strategies to pull some of his databases, to find some of his contact information. Now, what you will need to do next is you're going to need to contact them. And this is where the rubber meets the road, because uh, you will need to fully build a system. You can't just cold call people and expect to get massive results in a few days. You need to have a few domains. You need to have a few business emails on each of those domains so that you can scale your process. Meaning, if you're sending 50 emails from one email account, if you're going to have free domains with free business emails each, that's 9 accounts. You're probably going to be able to send 300, 400 emails a day to all these companies. So let's say we're going to find 4,000 companies. Immediately in a few days, if you're going to warm up this system completely and build this system correctly based on some of the tools that are available on Instantly or Smart Lead or some of these tools that I'm mentioning here, then you're going to be able to reach out to all these companies and automate the process. Essentially is building the infrastructure, getting the domains, getting the business emails, warming up all the emails, building the campaign, following up with all these leads, and then also calling the leads that are getting more warm and people that want to talk to you on calls on LinkedIn, texting them to get them on a call to build a relationship. What you're selling them in this case is a service of selling the business, which is kind of an exclusive broker for them. So if you're selling the business, you're going to prepare the business for the exit. You're going to ask for at least a $5,000 deposit to make sure that they're taking you seriously and you're actually doing the process for them and they're implementing the process. And then next 2 to 3 months, you're going to be focused on finding buyers for the company to sell this company for them. So you're going to be taking 2 to 5% commissions on the purchase price. Rough numbers, and a $350K net profit business in this space, let's say, it's probably going to be worth $1 million to $1.5 million. And 5% out of that, best case scenario, is probably going to be closer to $50,000 you're going to get paid after you help them to exit, right? No licensing is needed if you act as a connector or as a consultant and you're not selling any real estate assets. So that's how you can do it. Hope that helps.